Live from Studio A, WTLK, The Thunder.
So I promise this won't be a 40-minute episode like last week, because this is just your basic comic book and wrestling news with a touch of sports. So back in D23, when they were adding those additional announcements like for Black Panther 2 and Miss Marvel and all that, evidently there was a little bit more details concerning shows we already knew about before, namely one, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First off, I think Bucky's getting a haircut, so that's interesting. But Emily Van Camp will be reprising her role as Sharon Carter in Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where her character goes post-Endgame. And if you've seen Civil War, you know exactly why. Also, Wyatt Russell, son of Kurt Russell and I believe Goldie Hawn as well, will be playing John Walker, aka U.S. Agent, who took up the role of Captain America, or tried to, after Steve Rogers retired. Similar storylines going on here, I presume. So we have our first... Wait, is it our first? I believe it's our first father-son duo in the MCU now, actor-wise. Also, if you've seen It Chapter 2, you will have seen a special teaser, almost trailer, for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. It looks like the movie starting, and then you get the DC logo, and you got all the balloons, and then you got Harley popping a balloon, and she's like, I'm tired of fucking clowns. And then you see a montage of Birds of Prey footage. It's pretty sweet. Also, if you went to see It Chapter 2 late Saturday night at DashCon, you might have seen a very tall Georgie cosplayer pushing a rolling trash can and standing in your theater waiting for you to get out. That was me. Man. You see, for most of my shift that night, I was just like, just wasn't feeling it. Namely because I was physically tired from bad decisions the night before. Gotta stop that. And also, got a little bit of con crud going. It's a very light form. I think I'm just about done with it, but yeah. And I'm glad too, because I don't need the shit going on during Scarowinds, which is this weekend. Anyway, yeah. Once I put on that Georgie costume and started getting reactions from people and got to act all evil like, oh yeah, my energy level was spot on. By the way, I've been sleeping great now, by the way. So a little bit of sports news. So Hard Knocks training camp with the Oakland Raiders may have ended. But oh boy, did the drama continue. Because after all the training camp that Antonio Brown missed because of his foot stuff and his helmet and all that, GM Mike Mayock was going to fine him. And then John Gruden was like, nah, you're not getting fined. And then Mayock and AB had like some sort of shouting match, and his contract got restructured to very much non-guaranteed and basically like week to week. So AB just threw a fit and was like, release me. So they released him. And then a few hours after that, Julio Jones finally got a well-deserved contract extension after many years of not holding out and participating with his teammates in practice and the meetings and all that, and just being quiet and being like, we'll get a deal done, don't you worry. Even with reporters trying to goad him on to throwing an attitude or whatever. But Julio is a very class act, very unselfish, but very much what the Falcons want in all their leaders, which they do get, because you don't ever see Matt Ryan stirring shit. I mean, he swears a lot on the sideline, but so does Brady. So if you have a problem with swearing, then I can't really recommend you a quarterback, I don't think. Maybe a second stringer that sits on the bench and has no reason to swear. But yeah, after Julio got his extension, then oh fuck, the Patriots signed Antonio Brown. I mean, he couldn't play this Sunday because he couldn't sign his contract until Monday, because it would have been too perfect for him to play Sunday because they played the Steelers Sunday night and beat the holy fuck out of them. But yeah, starting today, AB is officially a Patriot. Oh boy. Now, when was the last time the Patriots signed a very, very top tier receiver who went to the Raiders for like a year and shit the bed? And then they were just like, okay, we don't want your shit anymore, go away. And the Patriots signed him. Oh yeah, Randy Moss. Just a little history lesson for you kiddos. Not saying it's going to be the same thing, but I'm saying it's going to be the same thing, and I'm not knocking on wood. So, I promised you some NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff results. So here they are. Noam Dar, the Scottish Supernova, defeated Travis Banks because who wants to push Travis Banks anymore, I guess. Cesaro, yes, that's Cesaro from the main roster here in America. The Swiss Cyborg. He defeated the Russian with the Darth Maul contacts, Ilya Dragunov, Mark Andrews, and Flash Morgan Webster, aka what I like to call Brit 182, because they're a couple of British guys who are about as pop punk as you can get. I mean, literally, Mark Andrews is in a pop punk band. Not Blink 182, but it's easy to just make the Blink 182 comparison because, yeah, if you haven't been paying attention the last 20 some odd years. But yeah, he defeated Joe Coffey, or was it Mark Coffey? I think it was Mark Coffey, the Coffey brother that didn't have another match, and Wolfgang of the faction Gallus, and grizzled young veterans Zach Gibson, and oh my god, I forgot the other dude's name. Here it is. The grizzled young veterans Zach Gibson and James Drake for the NXT UK Tag Team Championship. So congratulations to them. Of course, it was kind of obvious that might happen because Mark Andrews is actually from Cardiff. I think Morgan Webster is too, maybe. Somebody fact check me on that. Joe Coffey, so it was Mark Coffey who was in the other one, defeated Dave Mastiff for Last Man Standing, and while it wasn't Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley Last Man Standing that even had Lightning Lad going, wow, it was still pretty neat. Joe Coffey got thrown against the top turnbuckle, which collapsed, and they threw around boxes at each other. And Joe Coffey won by kicking the box that Dave Mastiff was trying to prop himself on away and making him slip, so Mastiff got the 10 count. Also, Kaylee Ray defeated Toni Storm in possibly the saddest result ever for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Kaylee Ray got in her head, Toni Storm led her in her head, and she got beat. Man. Also, in our main event, Walter defeated Tyler Bate to retain the WWE United Kingdom Championship. The big strong boy put up a wonderful fight against that German behemoth, but alas. And then afterwards, there was a long time of the faction British Strong Style, which consists of Bate along with his friends Trent Seven and Pete Dunne, standing in the ring, embracing, and being all awesome like. It was a very short episode following that on Wednesday of NXT UK, but Johnny Saint, the general manager, has a guy whose official title is assistant to the general manager. Not assistant general manager, just assistant to the general manager, named Sid Scala, and he's a very quiet and reserved guy. He's kind of a little skinny guy too. And Cassius Ohno, who came over from NXT, has been getting in their face about getting more matches and opportunities and all that. And Cassius is a very annoying person. He's kind of a dick, if I might add. And so they initially had put him in with 205 Live's Gentleman Jack Gallagher. But Gallagher is sick or injured or something, so he was just like, well, I'm going to stand out in the ring and you better give me somebody. So Cassius went to the ring or Cassius, as the ring announcers and the British like to pronounce it, which might actually be correct. I wouldn't be surprised. And Sid Scala came out ready to kick some ass. And he almost did. But Cassius won again, strangely enough. Usually, at least as of late, he's the guy to put other guys over, especially in super quick fashion like Matt Riddle. But yeah, no, a couple weeks ago he beat Ilya Dragunov and he beat Sid Scala, so this is interesting. Also, Rhea Ripley is running on a double rivalry sort of thing. She faced Piper Niven for the second time. They really, really, really don't like each other, and Piper Niven beat her about a couple months ago, or earlier this summer at the Download Festival. And this time Rhea Ripley beat her. So it's going to be fun to see where that rivalry goes. And at the same time, Rhea Ripley started a rivalry with Shayna Baszler over in NXT. Shayna Baszler is the NXT Women's Champion, who pretty much literally beat everybody in her own locker room. So when Shayna was out in the ring a couple weeks ago with her cronies Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, she was just like, I beat everybody. Blah, 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 blah. You heard the beginning of Rhea's theme song. This is my brutality. And then she came out and she was just like, you may have defeated everybody in that locker room, but you haven't defeated me, bitch. Mic drop, walking away. So next week, Rhea's going to face Shayna. That's going to be fucking great. Also in the 205 Live part of things, Lince Dorado of the Lucha House Party defeated Humberto Carrillo, and he is added to the Cruiserweight Championship match at Clash of Champions, so it's now Lince Dorado versus Humberto Carrillo versus defending champ Drew Gulak. And the King of the Ring results going into the semifinals. It's not the semifinals yet, but this is setting it up. Baron Corbin defeated Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet and Samoa Joe ended up pinning each other by both falling off the top rope and having their shoulders down and arms over each other's chest. So the referee was just like, fuck it. Next week is a triple threat. So it's going to be Samoa Joe, Ricochet, and Baron Corbin. Nice. And on the SmackDown side, Chad Gable defeated Andrade, and Elias defeated Ali, and they'll face each other in the semifinals. Also in Raw stuff, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman had a contract signing for the Universal Championship because they'll be facing each other while also defending the Raw Tag Team titles there. And Michael Cole was moderating horribly because the OC crashed it, the one with AJ Styles, Gallows, and Anderson, and the signing never happened. But next week at Madison Square Garden, Steve Austin will be the moderator for this contract signing. And just think about it. It's a Hall of Famer on Raw, which means The Fiend. I mean, most likely. I mean, just ask Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, and Jerry Lawler. Whenever a WWE Hall of Famer shows up on Raw over the last few months, they've gotten fucked up by The Fiend. I mean, those are just the facts. So all signs are pointing towards fearing for Stone Cold horribly. Speaking of The Fiend, we had a little special episode of Firefly Funhouse that same episode, where Bray Wyatt delivered a message after feeding Puppet Vince with money because Puppet Vince was about to fire him. And so he's just like, but look what I've been making. And he pulled out a whole bunch of cash and he just started putting it into Puppet Vince's mouth. And it was very realistic. And so he addressed the rumors that he'll be facing the winner of the Clash of Champions Universal Championship by pretty much saying, see you in hell. Nice. Also, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross had another match with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, Fire and Desire, of which Alexa ate the pin. So, yeah, it'll be Bliss and Cross versus Fire and Desire at Clash of Champions for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. So Becky and Bayley had a match showcase, a championship showcase, which was just a match versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And they didn't get to finish it because Sasha Banks crashed it. and she was watching for a while, and then she decided she saw enough and started beating the shit out of Becky with a steel chair. And Bailey stopped her, just trying to, I guess, try to reach her friend. At least that's what it seems like. And Bailey took the chair, and then she started beating Becky with it. And then Bailey tried to go out on SmackDown the next evening and say, I just want to be a role model for my fans, and I stick with my best friends. I just want to be a role model. Nobody was buying it. Roman Reigns had a face-to-face with Daniel Bryan concerning, Daniel Bryan says he didn't know Rowan was trying to kill Roman, and Roman didn't believe him, and then Rowan crashed the meet and beat the shit out of both of them. So I guess Daniel Bryan was telling the truth. He hates liars, and he didn't lie. Weird. So anyways, Roman will face Rowan. Ugh. Roman. They'll face each other at Clash of Champions. Even though there's not a championship to be defended, they're still facing each other at Clash of Champions. So, cool. I mean, I guess they messed up the whole storyline timing of getting Roman and Rowan on SummerSlam. I guess, whatever, just throw them on Clash of Champions. That's all good. Also, if I didn't tell you yet, New Day will be facing the Revival, who's a Raw tag team, while Rollins and Strowman will be facing a randomly put together tag team for the Raw tag team titles. Revival, the Raw tag team, will be facing the New Day for the SmackDown tag team titles at Clash of Champions, because the whole New Day have been having problems with this new alliance of Randy Orton and the Revival. They always seem to get RKO'd like 500 times an episode. So yeah, New Day's defending their titles against the Revival. Kofi's defending his title against Randy. It's on. So with all that, wow, it's only half as long as the Dragon Con episode. So yeah, with all that, drink, fight, make your ancestors proud, guys.